Last week on Instagram, I asked you guys to send me questions regarding UGA and Georgia Tech, so in this week's video, I'm going to be answering them, and I got a bunch of questions. You guys asked me like a million questions, so I'm going to try my best to answer as many of them as I can. I want to give like thorough answers, but I can't make this video too long, so I'm going to have to cut some questions out, unfortunately, but I'm going to try to answer as many as I can. So I hope you guys are excited for this video because you guys seemed really interested in it when I asked you guys, so I'm excited to make it too. For those of you that don't know, I went to UGA for a year and a half, and I transferred to Georgia Tech for this past semester, so I had an entire semester here, taken classes, you know, had social experiences. I've now attended both schools. And I wanted to make this video because I was like, I feel like it'd be pretty useful, especially for those of you that are like deciding where you want to go or like, you know, haven't committed yet and are deciding between the two. If you're thinking of transferring or anything like that. Also, if there's something that you want to know that isn't answered in this video, feel free to comment down below or DM me on Instagram. I would love to help out in any way I can. I did go through the transfer process, so I know how that works, and also like the application process, I know how that works too for like first years, so let me know. A little more basic knowledge also. Out of high school, I got into UGA and then I got waitlisted from Tech. I did get conditional for Tech, but I didn't end up taking it. The reason I didn't want to take it was because I wanted to spend another semester at UGA, and I'm glad I did because I ended up really loving it because I didn't like it my first year. I applied to Tech as a regular transfer for spring 2022, so that's when I got in. That's kind of like my journey throughout college. So if that clears anything up before I get into the questions, I feel like that's kind of important to know as well. Anyway, okay, let's get into these questions, shall we?
Mic check.
There's a huge difference. Like, I definitely felt it coming from UGA and going to Tech. Firstly, I'm gonna address like the stereotypes. So Tech is known as like a more like studious school, like nerdy, less social. Not even like less social, but like antisocial is the stereotype. And then UGA is like super social, party, like less school, more party. So that's kind of like the way that people see it like as an overview. UGA is definitely a party school, like absolutely. It's so fun. I had a great time there. I was going out pretty much every weekend. I would say like, yeah, for sure it's a party school. When I was there, I would always try to get my work done before the weekend so I could just like party on the weekend and not have to worry about doing any work. In terms of not being academically driven, that's like totally false. Like that's absolutely not true. I took some tough classes there. It was not easy. I would say it's a pretty academically like rigorous school. Georgia Tech is definitely more study focused, I will say for sure, but it's not completely study. That's like one thing where it's not like antisocial. I would say that that's totally false. It's not antisocial. In my classes at UGA, I feel like it was harder to make friends compared to my classes at Tech. Like when I got to Tech, and keep in mind I am a business major, like I don't know if that makes too big of a difference. I feel like it could make at least a little bit of a difference, but I am a business major. I guess like the demographic of introvert to extrovert might be a little different in my classes. But I noticed that when I got to Tech, like right away, I felt like I had friends instantly. Everyone wanted to know everyone wanted to talk to everyone, so it was just like immediately like I felt like I had a lot of friends. I think it was a lot easier to make friends during my semester at Tech versus like my most recent semester at UGA. But I did make a lot of friends at UGA my last semester there because I did join a business frat, and that's where I made like most of my really good friends. At Tech, I re-affiliated with my business frat, but I didn't join like any other organizations. I'm planning on it next semester, but I didn't this semester. But I was still able to make like a ton of friends. That's the difference between like Tech and UGA. I just feel like in class, I made a lot more friends at Tech, but then at UGA, all my friends were from like out of class activities. So I feel like at Tech, I had friends in all my classes that I made that were like new. And at UGA, there would be some classes that like I wouldn't have any friends in. So like, it just differs, I guess, in that sense. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's just how I felt. Because in a lot of my classes, I realized that they were just pretty silent at UGA and no one really talked to anyone. So that's kind of like the in-school social difference. In terms of like football, like of course, like do I even have to talk about this? Like I miss UGA football, man. Tech is not a big football school. UGA is a big football school. That was something I really, really liked about it. It's just there's a lot of school spirit because of football. If you're looking for like a sporty school, really big on school spirit, stuff like that, UGA has more of that. I wouldn't say Tech has no school spirit. I think that there is a lot of stuff that we have going on that does like contribute to school spirit, but I think UGA kind of takes the win on that one. I'm not gonna answer this one, only because I think this is very subjective. I do have an answer in my head though. I would say like as a business major, you know, UGA is a big business school, so I feel like my classes at UGA, like my business classes, were a little more difficult than my business classes at Tech. But then at Tech, I took 5 classes this semester, and I thought 4 of them were a breeze, but then one of them, like I really had to work hard in. Accounting at UGA is tough. Accounting at UGA is very, very hard. Accounting at Tech is really not that bad. I'm not gonna say one school is harder than the other. I know that everyone wants to know that. They're like, oh, Tech is so hard, right? Like Tech is so much harder than UGA. I don't think so. At least from the classes that I've taken so far, obviously it's gonna get harder as I, take the higher up classes. I didn't feel that way. I kind of felt like they were pretty level. I don't think tech is like crazy hard on the business side. Like I'm sure like engineering comp sci is a different story. Like I can't speak for those majors, but I will say I do like that the class sizes are a lot smaller at tech. You get a lot more like individualized attention. At UGA, it's like the class sizes are so big that it's kind of hard to get that individualized attention. In terms of rigor, I haven't noticed too much of a difference between the two schools in rigor. I think they're both tough schools. I think they're both challenging schools. I wouldn't say one is worse than the other in terms of the business school. So I also think it's like partially you. Like it's like how hard do you work? How much time are you willing to put into like studying, practicing and stuff? I'm pretty studious, so like I do work very hard, and that's why maybe I feel like if I'm working hard in both schools, it's kind of like the same thing. Everyone's different, so it depends on the person honestly, but I personally have not noticed too big of a difference, at least not yet. So I'm gonna compare on campus and then off campus. So I'm gonna start with on campus. So I have lived on campus at UGA and on campus at Tech. It's a little bit different for me because I did commit really late to UGA. So I got like one of the graduate housing apartments. It's University Village, so I was like really far off and I didn't have my car, which sucked. But if I had my car, I would have loved it even more. Like I liked how much space I had. So I shared it with one roommate who I love. We shared a bedroom and then we had a living room and a kitchen and like our own bathroom, which was super, super nice. I really liked it. I feel like if that was like closer to main campus, I would have loved it, but it was just really out of the way, which made things a little more difficult. It's more like East Campus, and same with ECV. Those are super nice. Everyone has their own bedroom, and it's like a living area, kitchen, like the same deal. Main campus dorms are also really nice. Although you may not feel that way when you're living in it, if you've only ever been to UGA and not Tech, they're pretty big. They're pretty damn big. Techs are very small. Tech's on-campus apartments and dorms are tiny. At Tech, the apartment rooms, like the single room is when you have like a quad, definitely livable. They're really small, but it's like fine. Like it's pretty cozy. It's okay. UGA's rooms are definitely bigger. I really prefer the UGA's on-campus housing. UGA definitely takes the win on that one. But in the end, like they're pretty similar. I just like to have a little more room. So looking at off-campus housing, UGA, Athens area does give you more for less. So you'll be paying like a third of the price for like 3 times the size of the room that you're getting. In Atlanta, I'm not saying the rooms are like super small, it's just more expensive, right? So I do prefer apartments in Atlanta because I love having like a city view. I got a lot of bugs in my off-campus apartment. I was living on the first floor and it was like a fear every night that I would see a cockroach in my room. I hated it. I started plugging my drains and that's when I stopped seeing them, which is disgusting, but I got a lot of roaches. And well, my apartment did. Just everyone in my apartment got a lot of roaches, which is terrible. But the rooms were big. I haven't lived in an off-campus apartment at Tech, but I have been to a bunch of them and they're super nice. The rooms are definitely smaller than the Athens off-campus apartment rooms, but still pretty big, still like a good amount of room. So yeah, I feel like there's not much of a difference there. It's just the only difference is like pricing. At UGA, I was paying a little under $500 a month for rent, and at Tech, I'm gonna be paying like a lot more, over $1,000 a month for rent. So big difference in pricing, but Atlanta's like a city, so it makes sense. UGA has superior dining halls. UGA's meal plan is good. UGA's meal plan is pretty good. Tech's is not very good. I don't know what else can be said about that other than I just feel like it's better to cook for yourself at Tech. If you're eating off campus, like if you're like cooking for yourself, it's the same thing at both places. Grocery shopping, meal prepping, whatever. I'm terrible at it. I gotta get better. Georgia Tech. Are you kidding? I feel like it kind of depends on what you choose to involve yourself in. Looking at the demographics of both schools, Georgia Tech is definitely more minority friendly. Demographic of UGA is primarily white, which makes sense because I feel like more rural areas of Georgia apply to UGA. It really just depends on what you involve yourself in. If I were to give you an answer, I would say Georgia Tech, just because if you were to like walk through each campus, you'd probably see more diversity on Tech's campus. It's a little tricky with transfer credit, especially going to GT, because you have to make sure that the classes that you're taking kind of align with the Georgia Tech classes. There is a place online where you can go to that'll show you what you're taking at whatever institution you're at does have like the same credit at Tech, so you can see like what you're getting for it. Typically, I've noticed that transfer students don't graduate in 4 years, like just like normally. It is possible to graduate in 4 years. I'm still graduating in 2024, but I think it's because I have a lot of AP credit, so it's definitely possible. I can't give a yes or no for like you specifically just because I don't know what you've taken. If you have a couple extra classes that you need that you can't take during the school year, you can definitely take them over the summer. So the time estimate on the apps are never right, but also I think we're understaffed with buses, so I feel like there's just not enough buses. I don't know though. The UGA bus system is great. It's so much better. I think they're still understaffed there, but the timing is very accurate. Like when it says it's gonna be there in a minute, it will be there in a minute. There's times at Tech where it's like, oh, like 3 minutes, and I'll be waiting there for like 15, 20 minutes and it'll like never come, so. Yeah, I would say so. I think tech frat parties are a little more chill, where UGA ones are like a little more crazy. Nightlife is a lot bigger at UGA just because it's a bar town. Tech is not really a bar town. There's bars, but you have to like Uber there. In Athens, you can pay like barely anything and go out and have a great time. But in Atlanta, you have to like Uber, you like pay a cover to get in wherever, and then it's like you have to Uber back, and it's just like, it's so expensive. It's not as accessible as it is at UGA. But I would say like tech is like a little bit of calm down version of UGA when it comes to partying, which I kind of like. Sometimes it can be too much in Athens for me. It's still fun though. I enjoy it once in a while. This is the last question I'm going to answer just because this video is getting really long, but I've said this a lot in my videos, but I really think that I made the right choice going to tech. Like, I'm really, really glad I transferred. As sad as I was to like leave my friends and everything, I genuinely believe that I made the right decision for myself. I really love tech. I love tech so much. I'm seriously having a great time. I love UGA still. I have no beef with UGA. It's a great school, but I just think that tech was a better fit for me. So I don't know if I have a totally solid answer on this one because I just love both schools. But I guess when it comes down to it, I did choose tech in the end. So yeah, it's probably tech. Anyway guys, I hope this video was helpful at all. I hope it gave you some insight into both schools. I know it can be a really tough choice. It was super hard for me too. It took me forever to decide, honestly. So take your time in deciding if you are deciding between the two. If you're going to one or the other, that's great too. They're both awesome schools. Like, you're gonna have a great time wherever you go. So just make the most out of it, and I promise it's all gonna be okay. Other than that guys, I'm gonna go, so you can give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Subscribe because I upload videos every Saturday and you do not want to miss out. But other than that, I'm gonna go, so I'll see you guys next week with another video. So until then, bye.